Hello friends, welcome to educators.com. I am Preeti Rathi. In last video, we have discussed about nesting of if-else and if-else ladder. Now in this video, we will discuss control structure, that is a switch statement. The topics which we are going to cover are switch case statement, flowchart for switch, then nesting of switch, and then we'll compare between switch case and if-else ladder. Now this switch statement is used to select one of the several alternatives when the selection is based on the value of a single variable or an expression. For example, here you can see that the syntax is switch, then we have controlling expression, then curly bracket. In curly bracket we can have multiple cases with different labels. Every case can have case body followed by break, and at the end we can have a default case. Now in this, first the expression will be executed, then its value will be matched with the case value. If any case value is matched, then control directly jumps to that case, and that block will be executed till break or end of the switch. Means break is not mandatory, so if break is not given, then all statements will be executed till end of switch. If there is no case matched, then it directly goes to the default section and it will execute default body. This default is also not mandatory. If case is not matched and default is also not given, then it will not do anything, and after switch whatever statement we have, it will continue with that. Now we'll check out flowchart for switch. As shown here, first we have expression which will be executed and its value will be matched with one of the case. Now here case value we have as 1, 2, 3 and 4. So whatever case value is matched, control will directly jump to that and it will execute its own block, and then it directly comes to the end. As shown in this switch choice. If choice value is 1, then it will jump here. If 2, then it will jump here. As break is given, after executing statement 2, it will directly come out of the switch. Now same example is shown here. If suppose we have integer I equal to 2 and in switch we have I. So as I's value is 2, directly it will match it with the case value 2. And it will execute this matching body. Then break is executed, which will make it to come out of the switch. Now similarly we can have nesting of switch also. It is just like nesting of if-else. Now nesting of switch means one switch having another switch in it. Now this inner switch should be inside the case of outer switch. It should be inside one of the case of outer switch. As shown here, we have switch expression. It will execute this expression first. Then if it is matching with this case value, then it has another switch. So that expression will be executed and it will match with the case value. And then that body will be executed. So this nesting of switch is rarely required, but it is possible. In switch, we have some restrictions also, that in switch case, we need to have constant values only. We cannot have variables. Similarly, we cannot have floating value. It should be either integer constant or it should be character constant. Two case values cannot be same. So if we compare switch versus if-else ladder, then we'll find that switch is faster than if-else ladder. Because in case of switch, at compile time a jump table is created, and after executing that expression, directly it will jump to relevant matching case. Whereas in if-else, every time the condition is executed at runtime. So switch is faster if we have more cases. Again we have some restrictions in switch which are not there in if-else. So in those cases we have to go for if-else only. For example, a float expression cannot be tested using a switch, then case can never have variable expression, always it should be constant, because it creates a jump table at compile time, and value of variable is not predictable at compile time. Again, multiple cases cannot have same expression. So because of this restriction, if that is the condition, then we have to go for if else only. Again, in case of switch, we can compare only with the equality operator, whereas in if else we can go for less than, greater than any operator. So in such cases we have to use if else ladder only. Now we'll check out all this practically. Initially we'll check out a simple example where we'll ask end user to enter the month and we'll display which month is that. Like initially we did hash include stdio.h and conio.h. These are the header files which we need to include in every C application. Then main is the entry point of our application. As we know, this CLR SCR will clear the screen and getch will retain the screen. So initially I'll have a variable called as month. Then I'll ask value from end user. So for that I'll prompt enter month. Then I'll read this value. Now as it is integer, I have to use %d and then ampersand month. Then after that, now for one variable we have multiple cases. So switch is a better option in this case. For example, we can have switch, then in expression I'll keep month, then curly bracket, and we can start with different cases. Say case is 1, then we want to display that it is January. Right? And then we'll have a break statement. Then we have case 2. Here we'll print Feb. Again break. So like this we can go for the multiple cases as per requirement. Fine. So for all 12 months we can continue over here. Then if I want, I can go for default also. Suppose randomly some value is given. Now if randomly some value is given, then it will come to the default section. There I can say wrong input. So this way we can have switch. Now if I'll execute this, enter month. If I'll enter 3, directly control will jump to the third case and it gives March month. If I'll enter something random value, suppose 30, so it will come to the wrong input. That is a default case. If I'll enter 2, then it will give the relevant value, that is Feb month. So this way switch will be executed. Now as we have discussed that this break statement is not mandatory. For example, suppose I want that if month is 2 as well as 3, I need to display same block, that is this is summer, right? So in that case, instead of giving that block twice, I can have case 2 then case 3, and for both these cases I have a common block, that is case body is common, that is this is summer. So in such conditions we can skip break. For example, if I'll execute this and if I have entered 2, So I'll get summer. Same will happen if I'll enter 3, because for both the cases same body we have given. So if break is not given, suppose I'll comment this break also and then executes it again. If I have entered 1, so you will find all the statement will be executed till break or end of the switch. So Jan month and summer, after summer break is given, so it will come out of the switch. So basically break makes it to come out of the switch. So if break is not given, all statements from the matching case till end will be executed. Even if I comment this break, default also will get executed. See, if I'll give 1 and enter, you can see Jan month, summer and wrong input. This way all statements will be executed, which shows that break is not mandatory. Now even default is also not mandatory. If we comment this, still it will compile successfully and execute successfully. So this way all statement will be executed. Now as we have discussed, we cannot have two case value as the same. For example, we cannot have case 1 and again we cannot repeat here as a case 1. If we do this, so we'll get compile time error. See, we are getting error that duplicate case. Two case value cannot be same. Now as we have discussed, we have some restriction in switch. That is, in expression we cannot have float value. For example, if I'll make this variable as a float, then I have to make this as a %f, and if I keep this and we'll try to compile this, so you can see we are getting an error that it must be a integral value. Float value is not allowed, but we can have character values over here. If we want char, then %c, here for character we can have comparison also as a character constant. Suppose we want to compare as a j, if j, then do this, if f, then do this, or if m, then execute this block. So now if I'll give f, then relevant block will be executed. Means integer and characters are allowed, but floating values are not allowed. Secondly, when we talk about case statement, it should be always a constant value. Integral constant, that is character or some integers or some expression which evaluate to the constant value at compile time. We cannot use any variable. If we try to use any variable, for example, I'll have one more variable as an integer, or suppose character c, and I'll try to use that c over here. So if we compile this, we'll get the same error that constant expressions are required. If this c is kept in single quotes, then it becomes a constant value. So it is not a variable now. It is a constant c value, so which is perfectly fine. Okay. Now, as we have seen, two case value cannot be same. Now even we can have nesting of switch. For example, we have this c character, or I'll make it as a integer value for day. So we are taking two input from end user, that is month and day. So in that case, two values I'll read here, %c and %d. that is ampersand day. After checking that the value is Jan, in this case we want another switch, so we can always add it over here. Switch, and now the expression is day. Here we can have multiple cases for the day. For example, if it is 1, then we want to conclude that it is 1st of Jan month. Then in second case I can have, say, suppose 2. Then we'll conclude 2nd of Jan month. Like this we can go for the nesting of switch also. Practically this is rarely required, but it is possible. Now if I'll execute this, I'll give J and 2 as an input. So we got 2nd of Jan month, and then Feb month. So 2nd of Jan month, and after that break is not given. So we are getting the next statement also executed till the end, or break. So after Feb month we got break. So after this we can add break statement. Now again we'll execute this. If I'll give J and 2, so we'll get 2nd of Jan month. So this way we can have nesting of switch also. Switch can be used very efficiently in case of menu driven programming, where we have multiple choices for the same variable. If suppose we have addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, arithmetic operator, so depending on the value entered of operator, we can decide the case value. So this kind of menu driven program can be executed efficiently. Now again I'll sum up all the restrictions and use of switch. Switch can be used in case of we have a variable and multiple values. So it is faster than if-else ladder also. Then when we have switch, first expression is executed, its value is matched with one of the case. The matching case will be executed till break or end of the switch. Break and default is not mandatory. Then we have seen two case value cannot be same. Switch expression should be always integral value, that is float is not allowed. It should be integer or character. Case value should be always a constant or a expression which evaluate to the constant. Variables are not allowed. So this way we can use switch. So in this session we have discussed about switch, we have compared switch and if-else ladder, we have discussed about all drawback and advantages of switch. Again we have seen nesting of switch also. Now in next session we'll continue with the loops. Thank you.